Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fifth episode, part two on Back to Basics. I'm your girl Cece, and today we're going to be continuing with the topic of love, how to be alone during the month of love. Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. She's my friend, she's my day one, she's my best friend. Actually, correction right there. And I'm going to let her introduce herself today.
Hi lovelies. My name is Shungu, aka K Sky, and her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the left bum to her right bum. So yeah.
Hey, girl.
How you doing?
I'm good, baby girl. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you keeping this Valentine's, man?
It is Valentine's.
It is Valentine's.
That's all I can say.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about, like I said before, we're just going to be continuing. If you had heard my last podcast, we were talking about how to be alone in the month of love. We talked about self-love and how to deal with grief when you have lost a relationship during the month of love.
Mm-hmm.
And today I'm going to be discussing, oh, by the way, guys, she's very single.
I am single.
You know.
Okay.
So if you want her, hit me up in my DMs. I'm gonna throw you her number. I can be a matchmaker in this one.
Let me find love in the month of love, okay?
So we're gonna start off. I always love people's personal definitions.
Okay.
I feel like when someone defines something in their own words, it has much depth. So we're gonna start off by your personal definition of love. How do you define love?
Girl, that is a hard question. Okay, like for me, the way I understand love, especially when it comes to a romantic situation, normally it's defined as like having great affection or like an intense liking for someone, but I think that it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper than just having affection and liking. With romantic love comes understanding, comes sacrifice, loyalty, willingness to communicate, willingness to like work things out, willingness to actually become one person. Despite the differences that you have. I think that's love, like in a romantic sense for me.
All right. That's an interesting definition, hey? Like when we actually get to look at what love is, that's I normally hear people talk about, I can't sacrifice, because sacrificing a lot creates toxic environments and stuff like that, etc., etc.
You're right. I had forgotten to mention compromise as well.
Compromise. That's the word.
That's
the word.
Exactly.
And it's one of those things that I've actually noticed in this generation that we lack. But I think that's another whole topic for another day that will take hours to talk about. All right. So tell me something. How has it been in such a month for you being single during Valentine's? Because I really know, like, especially in Valentine's, things like pop up, like you Google something about love and boom, the next time you're on Instagram you're seeing this post about love.
Girl,
it's like an algorithm, it's like
exactly.
It just goes like, she wants love, just give her love,
let us present it.
So how has it been for you during the month of Valentine's whilst being single?
To be honest with you, surprisingly enough for me, this month has actually been quite okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
It's actually been quite okay. I think it's because I'm at a stage where I understand that I am single and I accept that I am. And I can appreciate seeing other people in love and appreciate love as it is in general. I think that actually helped me is understanding that love doesn't only actually come from maybe having a relationship with maybe like just a boy-girl relationship, but it can come with friendships and other things like that. That's what's maybe been sustaining me in that regard. But I think, to be quite fair with you, if it had been last year, I wasn't faring that much well. Maybe because I was still fresh out of a relationship in some certain sense. So it kind of hit me hard because emotionally at that moment in time, I think I needed to feel loved or worth it, and I wanted it to be in a very like intimate like
setting.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was really, caught by what you said when you're like, last year it was very difficult for me because I just got out of a relationship and, I was craving intimacy. I was craving emotional attention and affection. Let's go back to last year, because we are in the season of Valentines right now, and we we want to dive deep in those situations, like especially for if there's somebody who has just gotten out of a relationship, and they're like, I'm like shoo, but last year. So let's talk about that. You said like you were craving intimacy and love last year. How did you take it through the month of love?
I didn't fare quite well. Guys, it was hard, okay? People will be posting themselves on their statuses on app, on Insta, on Facebook. I mean, YouTube is like the devil's advocate that time.
Don't I know?
So it was quite hard, and I think what made it worse was the fact that instead of actually realizing that this was actually getting to me on a mental level or aspect, I just decided to just like shove it down and not deal with those emotions. And because of that, when I started thinking about those situations, you know how it is when you try hard not to think about something. It comes up with a vengeance. You keep on thinking about it. So it pretty much put me in a place where I was sad and a little bit lonely because what exactly I was seeking, like I couldn't get it. Yeah.
Especially from the person that you wanted it from.
Exactly. Yeah. Like this time you have a specific person you want something from,
True.
And maybe they're not texting you or you're not talking or they're not giving you the attention you need. Or like, since you said you've broken up, they're just like non-existent and things are still fresh. So you find yourself really just reminiscing on the relationship, just also questioning yourself, should I really have broken up with this person? Because you're jealous of
what could
be, what you're seeing and wanting that as well.
I totally understand that, and I think it's actually like a really hard, especially like I don't know if this happens to a lot of people, like after a breakup, like you want to go quiet but you can't go quiet, and like we broke up but keep talking to me. And it doesn't happen like that, and it gets so heavy and so hard because you start questioning yourself with a lot of things. Do they even really truly love me? How can they just go quiet like this? Why are they behaving like this? What did I do wrong? Situations of low self-esteem kick in, lack of confidence kicks in, all of those things, and it's really challenging to have to go through that.
You find yourself missing those people a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's challenging on a normal day, on any day, because breakups suck.
True.
It's challenging on any day whatsoever, but it hits hard when love is constantly shoved in your face.
True.
How did you deal with the grief of losing your relationship?
Like in general, like the whole length of it.
Okay, all right. Yes.
Like when I broke up with the person I was dating.
That name almost flipped out of your mouth. It almost came out, but okay.
I'm not gonna say that name. I wouldn't do that. We're very good friends. Okay. Initially, when we did break up, I think the most dominating thing was I was in denial. When you've been in a relationship with someone for so long, and you are invested in that relationship, there is, saying the words, or having exchanged the okay, we need to break up or we need space. It's easy, not like it's easy, but you can prepare for that, but you're not exactly prepared for the emotional baggage that brings. So even if you have said that, you actually don't believe it, so there is denial. And like you said, you want to talk to that person, you miss them, you want to go back to how things were. Then after that, I went through like a state of like anger and bitterness, because I felt very wronged. And there were just so many things that were not cleared. It's
at that point in time.
Exactly. There was no closure. There was unfinished business. So there's a lot of anger and bitterness going on, and unfortunately, to some extent, there is a certain kind of projection in other aspects of your life as well. Because of that. Then I got over that stage and then reached acceptance. That okay,
this happened.
Yeah, this happened.
I need to work on this now. I need to work on what I'm feeling.
I need to take all the feelings that I have been shoving down and actually, now start to deal with them. And guys, it's hard. I don't want to lie to you. It is so hard.
Yeah.
We have this mentality where we're like, oh, we're black people. If it ends, it ends. It doesn't matter. It's really not like that.
Yeah, it's not. It really not.
So I started accepting it, and I decided that I really had to work on that part. But it was hard. It was hard. And I found that actually, had to kind of like isolate. Actually, that took me to the self-introspection stage and just reflection on a lot of things that happened during the relationship that I was in. So I decided to isolate and try to work through my emotions. And that brought me to realizing that I'm okay learning to love myself first, and also I then learned that, both of us were not exactly doing what we could have done to make the relationship work. No one is perfect. No one is ever perfect. I think that's something we also forget. So I decided to look on what I could have done better, what he could have done better, what was wrong with everything, and that helped me realize that you know what, at the end of the day, we do take something from whatever relationship that we've been in, and we can learn and we can grow from that. Maybe what we require changes, or maybe what we thought we were looking for actually isn't maybe what we thought it was. Exactly. So I'm at that stage where I am still self-introspecting, self-reflecting, sorry, and I can say it's okay.
All right. Yeah. That was I was about to get emotional. That was really emotional.
I'm the only person that can make you cry.
Damn straight. Anyway, so I again, I got caught when you said that you had to learn to love yourself again. Sometimes in relationship we tend to lose ourselves. Trying to I do believe like there's a stage in a relationship whereas now you're bending to make it work because you really feel like, oh my gosh, this is the relationship. You tend to lose some of your selfness, so to speak. And then when you get out of the relationship, that's when you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't love myself enough. I didn't care for myself enough, and now you have to go back again to start all over again. Because one thing that I do know about self-love is that self-love is not something that can be accomplished in a day. It's not. It can take a lifetime.
It does.
And sometimes when you find yourself back on that journey of self-love, that's a really, really, very, very good starting point in my point of view. and realizing that you had lost that part of yourself and trying to gain that back. I think that is the greatest act of self-love.
True. And I think that if you then achieve some certain self-love and you're comfortable with yourself and have learned new things about yourself, you can let go of the baggage from the past. It can also help you work on some insecurities that you have, from the past relationships as well. And you then don't carry it forward in the next relationship. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's actually something as well that is, a bit of a problem. Like with other people that I've spoken to, like, in my journey to understand relationships, to understand emotions, to understand trauma, to understand self-love, you get to communicate with other people who, like, you actually notice, like, this problem, like, this guys don't have a problem. But the problem is this person, and they have extra baggage from a past relationship they are carrying forward in the relationship, and they actually do not know that they are doing that, And it's very sad that sometimes we lose the people who are, really honest with themselves in those relationships. But at the end of the day, as much as we lose, we gain, because now you understand where you're lacking and what you're supposed to do to cover in that what you're lacking. When we're talking about self-love, how did you get back on that road? Because I really do believe that self-love is a very difficult thing. Like, it's easy to talk about.
True.
But when it actually comes to acting it out and actually, implementing self-love in our lives, it's very difficult, because sometimes you don't even know where to begin.
That's true.
You go like, okay, what's my, do I love my body? Am I comfortable in the skin that I'm in? Do I love how I look? Do I love how I walk? Do I eat properly? There are a lot of questions that come with self-love, especially when you're coming out of a relationship. There's a lot of self-doubt involved in that. How did you get back to a point where you're like, whew, I am now working on myself, and I'm working on getting my self-love back?
Okay, so honestly, usually with getting out of a relationship, you have certain questions you'd ask yourself. You ask yourself, okay, was I the problem? Did I not love enough? Did I not compromise enough? Did I not understand the person I was with enough? Could I have done more? Was I a burden to this person? And that can go on for a long time. That can really go on for a long time, But what I can tell you is some of these questions that you do ask yourself, some of them may not even be your fault, That's number one. Number two, I also believe that in every relationship that you get in, everyone has baggage.
True.
And I think that's something we always kind of forget, just not baggage from the past relationship, but baggages from like backgrounds and a lot of things that affect how a person is, So we tend to we forget that, and we pack it together with what we're experiencing in our relationships, and we think that
it's supposed to be perfect.
Exactly. So when you start, I think I ignored that, and I needed validation from other people where I'm like, Shunga, you're pretty. I'm like, okay, yeah. I am pretty. Oh, your wife material. Yeah.
Oh my
No.
God. Anyway.
We kind of need that validation from other people to feel like, yes, we're worth it. And we're not taking time to find that validation from ourselves, but from having worked from within. You understand? And so we push it aside, and usually that's when the wild times come, you go there, you have fun.
Yes, girl.
You need that little...
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
I've got music.
Wheezy. But
okay.
But look. But then later it gets empty. It does. It gets empty because you know, when love is coming from other people and it's not coming from you, it's fleeting.
Yeah, it ends up being it feels like a task.
You know how they say you can take the donkey to
the river, but you can't force it to drink.
Exactly. You know.
Okay.
So if you as a person have not worked on yourself, even if you're getting love from someone else, it doesn't really change that much until you start learning to love yourself from within. You understand? So I got to a point where I was like, okay, you know what, yes, I have people who actually like me, and maybe I like them too, but there is something that's lacking, a love and a self-worth that's lacking within me, and it's making me scared, you know, to maybe go for something.
You become overprotective of your own emotions.
You build a wall, you know, and that's toxic.
It is toxic.
It is toxic.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, you know what? I think that I need to work on me, and I need to learn to love myself. I need to learn to love the fact that, you know what? Maybe I'm not as curvaceous. You know what? Maybe I'm not.
Girl, you're beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, girl.
She's beautiful. Okay.
Thank you. This is what best friends are for. Maybe I don't have the smooth words to express that I love someone. Maybe, you know what, yeah, I'm not financially stable to shower the guy that I like with enough things, you know, but you then start looking at those things, you know, and try to work on changing your mindset about what you think, you know, and taking the positivity instead of the negativity, you know. And I think that's basically how I started working on it.
On your self-love.
Yeah.
All right. So I had a very interesting question in the DMs. There was a person who asked me. They were, oh my gosh, I'm actually forgetting the question now. But it was around, oh yes, they're like, okay, how do you deal with loving someone who's broken? You know? Their question was more related on the fact that they did something that triggered that person, and they thought they bought a present actually, for that, and that person got triggered because of past trauma, and you know, they're like, how best do I deal with such a situation, because it now feels like with every action I'm gonna get a reaction out of it. If you're in a situation where, because I honestly do believe as well, like there are situations where you get out of a relationship and you actually are broken because of that relationship, and sometimes you don't know how to work on it. Like I really do believe a lot of people, especially in the African context, I know you guys know this, we tend to shove things down,
exactly,
and emotions down. You know, you get out of a horrible relationship, you shove it down. And the moment you get into a new relationship, the moment that person does something which is slightly, exactly, you get triggered. So they'll ask me a question like, how do I deal with someone who's broken? How would you deal with a partner who's broken?
Whew, okay.
I mean, you love this person, but you know, there's that element that you can't change whether you like it or not. How do you deal with such a situation? I hope you're watching this, and I hope she will respond to you perfectly.
Okay, this is really my personal opinion. I think I just need to put a disclaimer and clarify that this is my way of thinking, and I am not in any way forcing you to think along the same lines. But when it comes to dealing with a broken person, for me, I understand that loving someone is important, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. But a love without understanding, it's, you know, it's like a half-baked cake, really. Because, you know, and okay, let me put it this way. I've got so many things to say.
Yeah, I can see that. Like your mouth and your mind, they're not working together. Okay, girl, take your time.
So the thing is, I for example, say you're broken, Chennai, right? I can love you. You know, I love who you are as a person. I love certain sides of you that I see. you know, like I said, nobody's perfect, and everyone has that side that's, you know, a little bit bad. I think that if someone is broken, usually for me, I believe in first befriending someone. You know, I believe that when you have a friendship, that is a very good foundation for then a relationship. Because you then have a certain understanding of someone before you jump straight into
a relationship.
Exactly. And you know, when you just talk, there are always hints to something that is underlying, you know. By showing that you're open and you're comfortable to listening, and that you're without judgment, that can help people to open up. You know, they can open up about what has happened, and what they've gone through, right? And when they open up to you as broken people, the first thing you should never do is to show that you maybe feel some type of pity. You know, they're not looking for your pity. They don't want your pity, really. They just, no, really.
I know.
I know. They're looking for understanding, right? And the second thing for me is, I know that people sometimes feel like you shouldn't do this, but I ask questions. I ask questions. I want to understand, you know. I'm not saying that I know what they've been through. I don't, right? So I want to ask questions so that I can know you better, you know. And other people tend to shy away from that, or
you attack.
She knows me. I have no boundary, you guys. It's bad. So I do ask questions, but I also know when I've pushed my limit, and I know when to draw back.
Yeah.
So even when you do ask questions, know when it's time to retreat until a better opportunity to ask again
arises.
Exactly. So when they've told you what they've been through, right? You then, I think, try to be there for them, right? And try to understand where they're coming from. You're not always going to get it right, really, because you need to know that you're not always going to get it right, but it's the effort
that counts.
That actually counts.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So I hope you got answered. And guys, if you've had any more questions, do send me a DM, and I will address the questions and situations that we've put across on the platform, whether it's podcast, whether it's here on Instagram or here on YouTube. I will address. So feel free to post in your questions, and we can address those situations. Yeah.
True.
All right. Let's talk about loneliness. Yeah.
I'm so lonely, lonely, so lonely. I have nobody
to call my own.
Okay.
Let's talk about loneliness. Yeah. Like it's. Did I hit a nerve?
Oh, somebody just come hold me.
All right. Let's talk about loneliness. All right.
Okay.
The good thing about this, the good thing that I appreciate about loneliness is that it doesn't only attack you when you're single.
True.
Even if you're in a relationship, like I'm in a relationship, but there are times whereas I actually feel like, oh my gosh, I am so lonely right now. But you actually do have somebody that you have, and this is something that can happen whilst you're in a relationship. But the loneliness I want to talk about right now is when
you're single.
When you're single, girl. When you're single. You want to know about loneliness in a relationship? Catch me in the next episode. But let's talk about that. Let's go back to last year, because last year is when Valentines wasn't as okay for you as it is now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about last year. How did you combat loneliness during the month of love? How did you get to a point? Because I really know, like, one thing that I always tell people, like, Valentine's is one day. And the whole hush, it really, really does happen on the day. Like, it goes through from it's the first 2 weeks of the month, goes through from the first day all the way to the 14th, but the 14th is just so intense. And sometimes it hits you like a ton of bricks.
It is in your face like this.
It's in your face like this. And it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But tell me, how did you manage to get to a point of being lonely to being alone and being okay?
So, answering the first question on how I dealt with it last Valentines. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I really did so well with it. Like, it's so there.
Yeah.
You know, it is so very there, and
It's like you have nobody.
exactly, and there's nothing you can do, really.
There isn't.
There really is nothing you can do. You know what? I think I just tried to convince myself that, you know, I'm fine.
Got this.
Bohangu. I didn't exactly deal with it. And I think what helped, again, I think I've mentioned this before, was I just talked to my friends, you know, and girl,
I'm friends. Anyway.
I talked to my best friends. That's why she's looking at me like she's gonna kill me. You know, have somebody you're close to that you can talk to, someone you can laugh with. You can drink.
Support the drinking.
Bad advice, but you can overwork yourself and go straight to sleep. Don't listen to her. But I definitely support you having friends, you know, spending time with them, getting that other type of love, even if it's not the intimate type of love. You know, it can at least feel some type of pull. So having my best friend around definitely helped to talk to her. Yeah, that was for that part of the question. And then from getting from
being lonely to being okay and being alone.
Again, support from people that you care about and people that care about you certainly helps. For me as well, venting. Talk about things that are just, you know, it's okay to admit that you're lonely. You know, and it's okay to have to be like, yo, I just need somebody to be with right now, especially if that person has a positive impact on you. You know?
I always tell people, like, because I've gotten this a lot of times, whereas, you know, someone goes like, you know, they get to a point of depression.
True.
And they don't talk to you. And then when you ask them, why didn't you come and talk to me? They're like, you know, I thought that, you know, I was burdening you. Like, I kept on repeating the same stuff over and over again. And, you know, I felt like I was burdening you, and I just felt like I shouldn't keep on burdening you. But it's actually not the case.
It's
you
not.
know? Like, it's actually really okay to keep on repeating it over and over and over again up until you get to a point where you don't feel like talking about it anymore.
And always know that the people who actually care about you are going to be willing to listen to you, no matter how much it becomes redundant. It doesn't matter. They're just going to let you say the same story over and over again until you deal with it, you know. Also, even for what you were saying was about being lonely whilst you're in a relationship. Guys, it's not bad to go to your partner and tell them, look, I know that maybe you're busy, maybe there's something going on, but babes, I am lonely and I just need to talk to you. Can you spare me 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, so that we can just communicate, have a laugh? You know, I just need to feel like you're present. You know,
that is very true.
Yeah,
that is very true. Wow, it is so much knowledge and wingo. Like, I actually really do feel like, you know, this is a topic that people need to venture into, because I really do feel like some people end up getting in a relationship because they lack or they are hungry for someone to talk to. And now it will be a situation where you're getting into a relationship because you want somebody who's really close to you and you can continuously talk about. But I feel like it now
attention.
But I feel like it will now become a chain of toxicness, because you are passing on your toxicness to another person.
True.
And this person is gonna get out of the relationship so bitter, they're gonna go and look for, you know, solace from someone else and pass it on. So it's really something that, you know, you should just talk about. And address.
True.
You know, go like, hey, you know what? I think I need to work on myself. And there's nothing wrong with being single, guys. There's absolutely nothing wrong. It gets to a point whereas you notice that, hey, you know what? I think I need to be alone to work on myself individually and just work on my own stuff before engaging in another relationship. Before I carry, because trust me, you can be toxic on your own.
True.
And you can carry that toxicness to another person, and then pass it. It's like a button.
Exactly.
You pass it on to the next person. Whoever is willing to receive. There you go, buddy. Okay. Whoever is willing to receive, you just go like, there you go, buddy. Okay. So one last question.
Go ahead.
I feel like when we're looking at relationships and love nowadays, it's really, really difficult and different.
True.
We tend to have a lot of complications. I remember I had a conversation with a girl who went like, I will not date a guy for more than 2 years if he's not gonna marry.
What?
And to some extent, I do appreciate her point of view, because to some extent, this depends on how old you are, by the way. Don't be 16 years old and thinking that you're ready to get married. You're not, baby girl. Calm down. Okay? It depends on the type of age that you're at. But now when you're looking at all of it and the burdens and the stress and everything, even the love as well that you get in a relationship, sometimes you just feel like, you know what? No. I can't pull 2 years of a human being doing this to me now and again. Because one thing we have to understand is people get comfortable.
True.
In relationships. People get so ignorant sometimes. Not because they don't love that person, but that comfort. It gets to a point where you take most things for granted.
Like, this is my person.
Like, she's not gonna go anywhere. Or, sometimes it actually gets verbally abusive, because uncertain words are, mentioned and spoken, things that you can't take back and stuff like that. And I really do feel like this has impacted this generation more than the last. I mean, and this goes if you're coming from a stable relationship, from a stable family, with the mom and the dad there in love and everything. Like, I think, like, right now, what, 23, 24? And, if you have...
Oh.
We're old. And you have, a stable family, your mom and your pa love each other, but you can't get love. Or you get love, but it's so horrible. You'd be thinking, did my mama get through this? Because if she did, she's a strong woman.
True.
Why is there such a difference now with love? Because when you're looking, it seems like it was easy back then than it is now. Now it's so hard, the upkeeps, the impressions, the lies, oh my God, if you're going to do that to me, I'm going to walk away. Like, it's so easy for people to walk away now. When you're looking at it, why do you think love was... Okay, why do you think love is hard now? Or harder?
Okay, so... This is a tough question. All right, I'm gonna start with the relationships now. Okay. I feel like our generation is more selfish, really. To be honest, I believe we are more selfish, in the sense that it's an I situation.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, and like you mentioned, background really plays a lot in relationships, and people tend to ignore that because they're so focused on the honeymoon part of the relationship, where everything is sweet and everything. Guys, I'm sorry, English is not my first language. This is a defensive mechanism. It's so. Like I said, we don't take time to really know each other. It's like, girl, this chick is fine. I like you, man. This man is some chocolate, and I want some that. I like you,
But then when you get to know the person, you're like, oh my God.
We don't take time to actually know someone. I'm not saying that having a relationship after knowing each other 3 days is bad. But
people get married in a month.
Yes, but my point is,
that's amazing.
We spend
your favorite by God.
But but we don't take time to know each other in like these days. You know, I see, I want, I go for it, I get, boom,
I'm done.
You know,
I'm gone.
Exactly.
Thank you. Next.
Wow. Yes. And because of that, we don't really have like a deep understanding of the person we're with. You know, I understand that you never really know someone.
True.
Until you're probably married and staying in the same house, but you at least know, you know, maintaining a certain type of character for a month and more is actually pretty hard.
But it's doable.
It is doable, but it's hard.
Especially right now, my God.
You know, so I feel like people don't get to know each other and they're just jumping into relationships and boom, right? So friendship is important. Take time to know each other, right? And then when you take time to know each other, it's easier for you to try to work with the person that you're with.
But now when you're saying take time to know each other, like when I look at that point of view, when we look at like 20, 30, 50 years ago, you had the access to know somebody. And I'm not just saying knowing somebody, you know, from, hi, I know you on Instagram type person type of thing, but actually knowing somebody. Like, hey, you call them on the landline, because I don't think there were still cell phones at that time. Call them on the landline and go like, hey, can we go on a date?
Sending each other letters.
Letters, exactly. Hey, can we go on a date? Can we go for a picnic? And it's actually a picnic. Like, it's actually chilling, not Netflix and chill. And you actually, like, I feel like back in the day, they actually had that opportunity to know someone. Like, right now, when you say you know somebody, like, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there is all these things, and everybody's personal life is just like, whoosh, it's out there. You won't find mine though, but it's out there. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of knowing someone?
I mean, yeah, you know, our life is out there, but it's not really out there because there are a lot of pretenders. Like,
okay.
You know, what we see and what actually is
not where we're going.
Is different.
Yeah.
You know, so as I was like saying, let me actually
double back.
Yeah. You're saying that back then, you know, they would actually talk. You know, you go, you have a date. When was the last time you all actually went for a date? Ask yourself that. You know, they went for dates where they would actually talk, you know, spend time. Yes, they were not hurrying to, you know, to get physical or something like that. You know,
it wasn't any Tinder. Okay.
I was about to start saying. Yes, and I think that people back then had things were more understated. You know, how do I further explain this?
I think okay. I think you done did it.
They were understated. You know, there was certain respect that was going on. You know,
courtship type of thing.
Exactly. You know, no one was rushing to have, you know, a number that can be like, oh, you're hitting on this chicks, you know, you're
50 chicks at once.
Yeah. You know, your body count is this much, you're the man, you know, or oh, her body count is this much, you know, she's you know, yeah. So they had respect for each other, really. Nowadays it's just and it wasn't also a situation where they were like, you know what, this person doesn't like me, so I have another person planned there. You know, these days it's okay. You don't want to pay me attention. I've got a gamu at my back. You know, there's the side nigga.
So much.
There's a side nigga behind me, so I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Do what you do. I do what I do. There wasn't that.
Yeah.
Nowadays we rely. If I'm popular on Insta or on Facebook, I am fly. You know, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Right. Not knowing that even if you're popular like that.
You're popular there, but
in real life you may not have somebody who understands you, who loves you, who likes you just for who you are, who likes Shungu just because, you know, she's funny, maybe she's got dark humor. and she's sarcastic.
Girl, you got dark humor.
She's sarcastic and she's crazy.
Yeah.
You know. So nowadays we're just so self-involved. Really,
Sure.
we really are self-involved. And I think we and we have this person did this to me, so I'm just gonna do it to the next person because you know what? I don't care.
I don't care.
I really don't care.
One gender messes up, I'm gonna mess up the whole gender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have this tendency of taking out what has happened to us to the next person because you know what? If this can happen to me, why can't it happen to the next person? Who cares? And we're losing our humanity in the process.
Misery loves company.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's why it's different. Back then, they put more into what they were doing. Dating was for a relationship, and the relationship was for the next step, which is marriage. You know, it grew. There was growth in it. But now it's just, yeah, I'm dating because I think she's fine. I just need her on my list, or I'm dating her because you know I'm bored. I'm just waiting for the right person or the next person to a time pusher.
Yeah, she looks better. As you know,
it's more materialistic and worldly. It's yeah.
Wow, a lot of knowledge coming from there. You know, most relationships right now we're surviving on the wrong things.
True.
And it's one of those things that are killing us. Like I had sadly enough I missed it. I got invited with the interclub from St. George's High School. Okay. And you know, like I got to a point where I was like, you know, if I had actually attended it, I would have actually picked their minds. Mm-hmm. When it comes to youth and dating, you know, it seems as if like we get to a point where sometimes we do not want to be responsible for our actions in a relationship. We tend to go like, you know what, if I'm a problem to you, I'm gonna leave. True. So that you are okay, because it seems as if I'm the one who's always causing the problem. But you do not address the actual problem. You are addressing the response to that problem and not the actual problem, which is actually, sadly enough, has killed a lot of relationships. And because of that, like I feel like there's an element of pride in that. We have developed that defensive mechanism, whereas True. If I'm setting you, if you're not happy with me, with how I am, I'm gonna go away from you or move on to the next person. And you know, it's difficult doing that or surviving relationships like that. It's really difficult. Thank you so much, Shu, for joining me today. It was an amazing conversation, girl. I was happy I picked your mind.
Thank you.
It's full of knowledge.
Can I add something for a little bit?
Please do.
I actually agree with what you said. Mm-hmm. We don't take accountability. Yeah. We really do, guys. I think we really should take accountability. You and I are not perfect. We make mistakes. You're not stupid if you're humble enough to step back and assess the situation and try to understand and see if you reacted wrongly, if you said the wrong thing, if you did the wrong thing. And when you have done that, to approach it by being sincere. And girls, sisters, I know it's hard.
It's hard.
It is hard.
Come back from that prideful place.
Yes, but if
come
you're
back,
wrong,
honey. If you're wrong, come back. It's okay.
It's not bad to apologize because we can't always.
You can't always be right.
Exactly.
You can't always be right.
You can't always be right. So accountability goes a long way to make a relationship, like to making a relationship work, because you're willing to step back. Because emotions are emotions regardless of gender.
True.
You know. True. So yeah, we should take accountability.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. I had an awesome time with discussing love and Valentines and how to deal with loss, grief, and how to be alone during the month of love. Remember, if you're single, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're in a relationship and it's good, thumbs up to you guys. Thumbs up to you. If you're in a relationship and it's bad, do not ever be afraid to walk out. That's if you've actually done utterly everything to make it work. Like I said before, love, it's a work in progress, yeah?
And it's a beautiful thing.
It's a very beautiful thing. Yes. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so guys, if you want to get more of our content, please go ahead and follow us and like us on Facebook, Instagram. Go and hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit the notification button so that you get a thing,
A notification.
right? A notification every time.
Second language problems.
A notification when new content comes up. Yeah. And if you want to go ahead and follow, I think I'm gonna put her tag in the description box so that you can go and follow her on Instagram at KSky. I will tag her in the description box so that you can hop into the DMs and make the things happen. You know, you want tips as the friend, you can come to me and I can give you a couple of tips on how to approach it.
Like I said, single guys, you know, my number 0775 I'm joking. But you can get it when you come to the DMs.
Go to the DMs, man. Go to the DMs. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Until next time, it is peace.
Bye-bye.
And much love from your girl, Cece. Bye.